This podcast is going to be about differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior. Differential reinforcement of incompatible behavior, which is also abbreviated DRI, is one type of differential reinforcement. However, instead of eliminating or reducing behaviors, DRI replaces it with a more positive one. For example, let's look at a student named Tyler. Tyler is a 5th grade student who is struggling in his math class. Whenever he is given an assignment to complete independently, he doodles on his worksheet instead of completing the assignment. This is one example of a situation where DRI may be effective, as we want to substitute the behavior for a positive behavior instead of simply reducing or eliminating it. There are 4 steps to DRI. The first step is simply to identify the behavior that you want to change. The second step is to brainstorm an alternative or incompatible behavior. The word incompatible in this case meaning that the new behavior cannot be executed at the same time as the problem behavior. Therefore, it keeps the student from engaging in the problem behavior. The third step is to determine and deliver reinforcement when the student is engaging in the alternative behavior. And the final 4th step is to deliver appropriate consequences when the student engages in negative behavior. Now, let's think of these rules in the context of our example. Remember, Tyler is a 5th grade student who is struggling in his math class because whenever he is given an assignment to work on independently, he doodles on his worksheet instead of completing it. So step 1, identify the problem. Tyler's problem is that he's doodling on his paper instead of completing his work. 2, brainstorm an alternative behavior. One alternative behavior would be actually completing his assignment. This behavior is incompatible with the problem behavior because Tyler cannot do his work and doodle at the same time. The third step is to determine and deliver the reinforcement. But before you can do that, you have to determine what the reinforcer is going to be and determine the interval in which you will reinforce Tyler's behavior. Since Tyler seems to be avoiding his math work, he will be given a sticker for each interval he is working on his assignment, with 3 stickers equaling a 10-minute break later on. So the 10-minute break serves the same function as he is trying to avoid his math work. Next, for the interval, Tyler will be monitored in, let's say, 5-minute intervals. And then once you've determined the reinforcer and the intervals, you can begin to deliver the reinforcement. The 4th and final step would be to deliver appropriate consequences when the student is caught engaging in the problem behavior. So, for example, when Tyler is doodling, you could respond by giving additional math work, which would be a positive punishment, or taking away free time later to complete the work, which would be an example of a negative punishment. Now that you have learned to execute DRI, let's go over some of the benefits of it. Using the DRI technique is useful for teachers because it not only eliminates a problem behavior, but it simultaneously teaches an alternative, more positive behavior. Students who have problem behaviors you want to change instead of eliminate may benefit from using DRI. For example, DRI is good for a student who gets distracted because you can substitute that behavior for doing work. However, DRI would not work as well with a student who is hitting other students because that is a dangerous behavior that you would want to eliminate. So, DRI works best with students who have issues with focus and attention. However, when using DRI, it is important to provide reinforcement that will still provide the student with the function of the problem behavior. In the Tyler example, giving him free time as a reinforcement worked because he was trying to avoid doing the assignment. A bad reinforcement would be, for example, time to work with the teacher, since he wasn't trying to get teacher attention. It is important to be cautious of the reinforcement you give in order for DRI to be most effective. Now that you have heard the benefits and rules of DRI and have seen it in a real-world example, you are more than ready to be able to utilize DRI in your own teaching experiences.